Professor Polycarpou. At first, I would like to congratulate both the University of Cyprus and yourself for this prestigious Synergy Grant awarded by the European Research Council. You take part in this project with another 3 well-known European institutions from Germany, the Netherlands, and Greece. It is the first such grant for an academic institution based in Cyprus, with a total value of 10 million euros. The central theme, water futures, is so relevant to our small island and the water-stressed Mediterranean region in general. Over the last few decades, more and more regions all over the world have been facing severe and regular droughts. How do you envisage that the researchers from the 4 countries will make an impact and an important breakthrough in providing solutions regarding the future design of urban water systems?
Thank you, Socrates. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank the organizers for the great event and for the invitation. Indeed, we are very excited about having the first ERC Synergy Grant in Cyprus. It's a very prestigious grant. And we're even more excited about the possibility of the topic of the ERC Synergy Grant, which is designing the next generation of water systems. So what are the aims of the project? The aims is to consider the way that the water distribution systems will evolve, and by taking into consideration not only the operation of the system at this time, but also the long-term planning of the system. So it combines issues related to long-term planning, like how do you invest in water systems? Because once you put a pipe in the ground, you cannot easily take it out. So how do you plan for the long term? And at the same time, how do you take into consideration the short-term operation of the system in terms of automation, in terms of smart sensors that are able to measure the quality and the quantity of the water, the flows, the pressures? This is a very complicated problem to start with. If you include in there also the impact of humans, so humans utilize the way humans utilize these water systems is very important. The way humans operate the water utilities, the stakeholders. So take into consideration the human aspect makes it even more challenging. So the way that we're going to address these issues is by considering a multidisciplinary approach where we have people from water systems background, people from automation, people from machine learning, as well as people from economics, so environmental economics. And I believe this is going to have a major impact in the area of water systems because as we move forward, water systems is one of the most critical resources that we need to address. And just like in the past, wars have been fought for energy and oil. There's a lot of people that believe that the conflicts of the future would be related to water because it's such an important resource.
Okay. Well, the United Nations predicts that by year 2050, about 70% of the world population will be living in urban areas. How do you, well, this significant change on urban drinking water systems and services will cause a lot of problems, obviously. Historically, as cities grew, new water infrastructures were developed based simply on need, without doing too much long-term planning. Moreover, according to the same United Nations estimates, by year 2050, that is only 30 years from now, 1 in 4 people may live in a country affected by chronic shortage of water. And I repeat, 1 in 4 people. The critical issue is how to plan for future water needs in urban areas rather than just react to a short-term crisis, something that requires us to find urgently precious water resources. And we all remember what happened in Cyprus in year 2007 when we had to import water with tankers from Greece. The key question is how should the world achieve the provision of high-quality water services in the future while facing severe climate, economic, and population pressures under these times of considerable uncertainty?
This is a very, very good question, and indeed, things in the water industry are actually developing in an interesting way. So we know that we live in a smart society. Everything, we have smart cars, we have smartphones, we have smart everything. And I think the way that the water systems are developing are going in that direction as well. What does it mean, smart water networks? The way I envision and I try to explain it to my students is that what we are trying to do is the water systems for thousands of years have pretty much looked the same. In the last few years, there's actually more electronics, more communications, more algorithms involved in the operation of the water systems. So we have smart sensors that we're able to measure different quantities. We have smart actuators. We have the ability to transfer information from one place to another. And we have smart algorithms that are able to make decisions in an optimized way. So just like in the past we had mostly mechanical cars, now we have cars that are half mechanical, half electrical, and in the future we're going to have cars that would be almost entirely electrical. In the same way that we have buildings that are becoming more and more electronic in the sense that we have components that measure the quality of air, and make decisions about different things. In the same way, I believe that the water systems will develop also in that direction, and we're going to have smart water networks that we're going to be able to save resources in terms of minimizing losses due to water leaks, being able to detect any contamination as quickly as possible, being able to save energy. Actually, 3 to 4% of the energy used for electricity is used by water systems in order to treat and move the waters. So being able to save even 10 or 20% is a major issue. So these smart water networks will allow us to... yes. So, yeah.
This is much better.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the general collaboration between the Water Board of Lemesos and the KIOS Research and Innovation Center of Excellence of the University of Cyprus, which goes back 15 years now. It has been extremely useful for the water board to keep up to date with technological developments, taking into account that we do not have our own internal research and development department. We, as most organizations in Cyprus, are too small to have our own R&D department. This collaboration has had a significant impact on the way we operate and plan the water distribution system in Lemesos. Could you please explain the role of KIOS, of which you are the director, and the benefits of this kind of collaboration between universities, research centers, government organizations, private sector of our country in general?
Thank you, Socrates. So the KIOS Research and Innovation Center of Excellence is the largest research center in Cyprus in the area of information and communication technologies. It employs more than 150 people, and the main research topics that we are looking at is in the area of intelligent critical infrastructure systems. So critical infrastructure systems are systems like water systems, of course, energy systems, transportation systems, and more recently, we are looking also in healthcare systems. So what we do in terms of research is to develop methods, to develop algorithms, to develop smart algorithms in order to make these systems smarter, to make them more efficient, greener, and also more secure in the face of potential cyber attacks. So the center collaborates with government organizations. So most of the funding of the center comes from European research programs. But in addition to that, we are collaborating with different organizations, government organizations, and industry in order to transfer the knowledge that is developed in the center in the actual systems. And I think this is very important. And I think this is something that the governments should encourage more, to give incentives so that this collaboration can actually go smoother, because a lot of times it's not as easy to have this collaboration. And so this example that we have with the Water Board of Lemesos is an example to be followed, and we have similar collaborations with the Electricity Authority, with the Department of Transportation for other applications. And this is actually working well in terms of being able to actually have an impact, not only in the literature, but also in terms of in the real systems.
Okay. Well, according to the latest issue of the Economist newspaper, children born today are likely to face 7 times more extreme weather events than their grandparents. Extreme weather events include wildfires, droughts, heat waves, etc. And all these have a significant impact on the available water supplies. How do you think innovation and technology could address the issue of climate change and provide a solution to the pressing need of balancing the rising demand with the declining available quantities of water?
Yeah, so climate change is the major issue of our lifetime, and it's a very important issue, and there are different aspects that need to be considered. So there's political issues, but I think an important issue to get is the use of technology. And I think the use of technology, for example, in water distribution networks, can develop smart sensors. They can develop ways to be able to new type of pipes and in order to store the water and to transfer the water, new pumps that And in addition, a lot of it has to do with developing new algorithms. So new algorithms using artificial intelligence and machine learning, for example. You can develop it was mentioned earlier, like a digital twin to the water system. The twin being one of the twins is the real system and how it operates. And the other twin is a computerized version, a model of the real system, which you can use to actually try different things out without having to try it on the real thing. So these things will evolve more and more, and I think this can provide ways to address some of the climate change issues. However, I need to make clear that not everything about technology is good. It's going to create some changes. For example, the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to create a reshuffling of the employment. So some of the jobs will become obsolete and new jobs will be needed. So this is something that is important. The other thing is we need to make sure that when we develop an algorithm that it does what we want it to do. A lot of people are talking about explainability and trustworthiness of machine learning. And this is a very important issue because people are not always trusting. So how do we know that whatever comes out is actually what we want? The other thing that automation causes is the possibility of cyber attacks. How do we make sure that all this automation does not create an additional problem? So technology can solve some problems, but at the same time, we need to be aware of some of the things and take care of those as well.
So in view of what we have discussed, how optimistic are you about the use of technology in tackling climate change?
Well, let me put it this way. I think we live in very special times. If you look in the past many, many years, the energy was produced by biomass, so people were burning wood. At the current time that we are living, which is a very short period of time actually, we depend on fossil fuels. But I think this is a very small period of time. I think if you look at in the future, everything is going to be renewable. So if you look at the whole spectrum of time, we have a big period of time where we had biomass, burning wood. We have a small period of time of fossil fuels, which they're going to run out anyway, even if it wasn't for climate change. And we have the renewables. So the renewables is the future. And I think what we need to do is we need to move on to the renewables as quickly as possible because the longer we wait, the harder it is to do that. So I'm optimistic that humans have the rationality and the intelligence to move to the renewables as quickly as possible. And so to answer your question, I'm optimistic.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.